Great program, Media Watch.
Rubbish. It's the greatest lot of garbage you've ever seen. Someone should start a Media Watch on Media Watch. They've got a cast of thousands putting that together, disaffected journalists, people who have just got a gripe on the world, who wouldn't make it in the real world of media. In that situation, and Jonathan Holmes' situation, I think he's got many flaws in his abilities and his reporting skills as well.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right.
Supercilious dropkick that he is.
Well, I did call Howard Sattler a rip-off artist last week. Supercilious dropkick is the least I could expect in return. Welcome to Media Watch, and welcome to you, Bob Moormill, our champion in the West. Your Media Watch fridge magnet is in the mail. And let's stay in Western Australia for an unusual case of mistaken identity. A new and controversial law in WA mandates that any adult assaulting a public officer, including police and ambulance officers, must serve a minimum of 6 months in prison. 3 weeks ago, the first of 2 people charged under the new law came before the magistrates' courts. Reportedly, both had a history of mental illness. It was an important story, and 4 television news bulletins ran it. But only 7 made this decision.
This 22-year-old mentally ill woman recently attempted suicide. Because of her fragile mental state, 7 News has decided not to identify her.
None of the other channels felt such delicacy was necessary.
Rhiannon McLaughlin is the first person in WA to be charged under the new laws.
22-year-old Rhiannon Jade McLaughlin was charged with assaulting a public officer after she allegedly kicked a paramedic in the face in Maylands on Saturday.
Rhiannon Jade McLaughlin appearing in court today charged with assaulting a public officer.
7's decision not to identify the woman looked even smarter when a couple of days later, fax machines at 7, 9 and 10 spat out a furious letter from a firm of Perth lawyers. The woman they'd filmed outside the court, claimed Thames Legal, was not Rhiannon Jade McLaughlin, but their client, a completely different woman.
Apart from the obvious distress suffered by our client by being visually identified and linked to a crime she was not charged with, it is rather important for a news broadcaster to make sure that what is being reported is factually correct.
The facts caused puzzlement in TV newsrooms all over town. As 7 News told Media Watch that Friday,
4 reporters were covering the case. All were there when Rhiannon McLaughlin appeared in court. All believed it was her outside the court. We're trying to clear up the confusion as quickly as we can.
Media Watch was trying to clear it up too. We'd spoken to the lawyer's client early that week. She told us her name was Stephanie Postons. She'd been in court on an entirely unrelated matter and had found herself ambushed by TV crews on her way out.
Everything was already surreal for me. When I left and there was media around, I got confused. So I started walking in one direction and then turned around.
When she appeared on television that night, she said, it was seen by
my neighbours, work colleagues, my mum's neighbours. There's so much confusion from this.
Miss Postons didn't sound to us like a hoaxer. On the other hand, when we sent images taken from the television stories to the WA police, they told us
police media has consulted with the officers who arrested the woman, and they believe the woman in the images you have supplied is the woman that they arrested and charged, i.e. Rhiannon McLaughlin.
And that's what the police told the TV networks. But to his credit, Thames Perth News Director Chris Hunt wasn't satisfied. He rang Thames Legal and persuaded them to reveal their client's name. Then he called an inspector of police media.
I gave him the name Stephanie Postons. I asked whether they could get her image up. He rang back and said, "You won't believe it. You got it wrong, and you won't believe how similar they look."
So 10 ran an admirably full correction.
10 wishes to clarify that the person shown was in no way connected with the story and apologises for any distress caused by the error.
So, what have the others been doing? Well, 7, who didn't show the woman's face, has sent a letter of apology. And after hearing from the police, 9 News ran an on-air apology last Tuesday night. The ABC brought up the rear. Instead of sending a fax, Miss Postons' lawyer used ABC News Online's email complaint form. He's faxed us a printout of his complaint.
News item on Monday, 12th of October 2009.
But the ABC claims it has no record of receiving that complaint and that it wasn't informed by the police that their advice on the matter had changed. Police media has told us that it did tell the ABC. Finally, last Friday, Media Watch sent the ABC in Perth an email that we'd received from WA Police Media.
The woman shown on the TV news was not Rhianna McLaughlin.
At last, we received a response from ABC News.
It's a highly unusual situation and certainly a regrettable one. An on-air correction will be made and a correction is being posted on our website.
Well, better late than never. But you'd have thought someone at ABC Perth might have worried about what we were telling them or noticed that 9 and 10 had already apologised on air. A bit more proactivity wouldn't have come amiss. The national broadcaster comes out of this one at the bottom of the class.